Hi, good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
I'm ready हो आप
Yeah,
प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर कर दीजिए मैम.
yeah. You have disabled the screen sharing?
You can try now, ma'am.
Yeah.
ठीक है मैम, मैं एडमिट कर रहा हूँ स्टूडेंट्स को.
Yeah.
You can start now.
Am I audible?
Hello.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, some students are asking that they're not able to join. So,
थोड़ा मैम वॉल्यूम कम है शायद. थोड़ा आवाज कम आ रहा है.
hello?
हाँ जी.
Yeah, now?
मतलब क्लियरली नहीं आ पा रहा है.
Hello?
नाउ इट्स क्लियर.
Okay.
प्लीज गो अहेड मैम.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Kavita from NSTIW Bangalore. So, today's topic is on case study of a project. So, how do you make a case study for a project? Before starting any design project that is given to you, okay, yeah. So before starting any design project, say in your class or in your office, once you go for your job, you will be given a topic, right? So let's take our class projects itself. So when you want to design a project, you have very basic knowledge about the plans and how it is executed and how you can draw it. So when I say case study, for example, say I've given a project of a restaurant or a hospital. Maybe I can explain you in detail of all the rooms, all the spaces, all the requirements. And even when you're designing, you can Google few and get some ideas. But practically, for you to understand better, you have to go visit a similar kind of project, get the data required, and then start the project. See, the process of going and visiting a project and seeing the details and making it into a report is what a case study is. So this will come because you are at this stage where you have given some drawings and you're drafting, right? After that, you will be starting your projects where you will design on your own. So in that process, before starting the design, no matter how much I explain you or how much I give you knowledge or how much I tell you to browse in the net and all, how much I show you practically also, until unless you go individually and see the sites, see the similar project, you will not get a in-depth knowledge of what you want to do. So for that, you have to go to the sites and then see it, analyze it, and then make a case study. It's like a project basically, and then submit it. So that will give you a clear idea of what you want to do. So let's start with it. So learning outcome of this session is you will know what is the purpose of case study, then what are the things that is required to analyze a case study. For example, a checklist basically. So if you want to go to the site and get the details what all you require and what are the things that you have to check at the site is what analyzing a case study mean. And then I will show you a case study of a project which is a restaurant. So these analyzing again depends on what kind of project that you're doing. So today's class will be very short, not too long. So I'll just explain what are the checklist. Apart from these also, depending on the project, again I'm saying, you will have an increase or decrease in the checklist. So I'm just going to show how one case study is done. So first we'll see the purpose. So what is a case study? As I told, as an architect student, it is very important for you to document or do a case study. That is the very basic need. Even as a draftsman, you need to have a case study in your hand before going into any project. So it could be a case study of a residence, apartment, a villa, restaurant, a high commercial building. It can be anything. Again, when you are given a project by your teacher, and again it will be in groups, so some groups will get high rise apartments because it's a part of your syllabus, right? So some groups will get a hospital, some group will get a small restaurant, some will get a nice apartment. So depending on the project that you have got, you will do the case study. So not that you have got restaurant and you're going doing a case study of a hospital. That will not help you. So if you have given a project of a apartment, you will go visit similar apartments and do. So, a case study is an in depth investigation of a single individual group or community, otherwise, include experiments, survey, or analysis or archival information. So, in depth investigation, when I'm saying, it will be lot of criteria that you will be seeing in the site. So you, before going into in depth, before going to the site itself, you have to first make up your mind what kind of design you're going to do. For example, in the last few classes I have taken about materials and I think about passive design architecture. So if you have in mind that you want to design your building in a passive design, then you have to choose similar projects. So you can't take a very modern project and do a very traditional project. So whatever concept is there in your mind, you have to choose your case study project similarly, so that you will get more details when you go on the site. So that is what case study is about. So you will not, whatever your concept is, you have to first make your concept ready and then go to the case study design. So what is the purpose? As the term case study suggests, it is the study of a particular case that is similar to your topic of design project. Doing a case study will help you understand the various aspects that you have to consider while designing. So what are the various aspects? It can be the position of your rooms, it can be landscape, it can be the materials you will choose for your elevations. So everything comes into the picture. Always possibly go for more than two different case studies, because a comparative case study of two or more different cases is very important and helpful. So when I give, say for example, I'm giving you a case study to do a case, to do a project, not a case study. Say if I am giving you a project of a restaurant, say about 50 people to accommodate, it is better if you can do two case studies. One is which is a smaller restaurant, and one is which is bigger restaurant, so that you will get an analysis of both, how it works and how it doesn't work. So when you're taking two different cases, it is better to take one is minimum and one is the maximum requirement for your design. In that ways, you can have a good comparative between the both projects. Next. So this is about case study. So purpose is, you, before getting into your design, you will get a detailed analysis of your project for starting in a better way. Not that you cannot design, but you can do it in a better way. So analyzing a case study, so the first thing you require is site and surrounding. So without site, you cannot start any project. Even if I give you a project to you to do, I have to give a boundary. What shape, what size, what is the area? So that is the site and surroundings. So the first one is location. Site location, road names, address, major landmarks, etc. This you can easily, you don't have to go to site to get this data. This you can easily get it from the Google map, or you can just Google the location. Today's Google map is so good. So whatever address you have, you can just Google it. You can get the earthy map, you can get a line map, so that you can get it from the Google map itself. So to make a case study, the very first thing you require is your location. and your existing buildings and car park roads. So wherever your roads and all is there, that you have to check it from your Google Map. You have to collect it. So you can download it and keep it when you're making the case study. The next one is site and zoning. What is the site boundary and dimensions? Sometimes you can get it in the net, but if you're not getting in the net, where you're taking remote areas and all, or sometimes it's not available, proper dimension is not available in the net, then you can go directly and get the dimensions. Also, when you're choosing a project for case study, check with the client if they are okay with going and seeing the details of the building, because there are some projects where they'll not allow you, right, inside in-depth seeing and all. So that kind of projects don't take, because if you're not getting the in-depth analysis of the project, then it is there is no use of making a case study. Just seeing the outside building, it will not help you. So you have to check with the client if you can go around the building and see, take photographs. Only then you can analyze the project better. So choose a project where you can analyze it in a better way. And buildable area of the site. So if you have a site of say 1 acre, how much is built? So that area you require. And access to the site. So from the road, where is your car parking? How is your entry? Is there any bus station nearby? So all that you will take into your consideration when you're checking your site and zoning. Where is the pedestrian walkway? So you can take some photographs. If there is any details of the walkways, some interesting details, you can take that photographs. And how they have designed their walkways around the building. Is there any landscape behind? All that you will check when you're checking the site and zoning. This is the exterior part. The next is the natural features. So when I say topography of the site, this is mostly for hilly areas where you have lot of terrains, where you have lot of slopes, like Shimla and all. The houses are built in slope. So there you will take the study of the topography. What is the slope that is there existing? How they have constructed? How they have leveled? Those kind of things. Then vegetation. Is there any existing landscape, greenery, shrubs, trees, open space? Why vegetation? Because when you're designing a passive design, or when you're designing air movement, when you're considering air movement in your design, these vegetations you can check whether they have built some trees so that they can obstruct the wind, or they have given some trees so that they can get some shades. So all these you have to check when you're checking the vegetation. So that will help when you're analyzing the vegetation. Then site levels. Are there any levels? Are there any big boulders? Or are there any land undulations? All those you will check in the site levels. How will this affect your design? Sometimes what happens, there are a lot of trees. So when a lot of trees are there, you don't want to cut those trees. Are you incorporating those trees inside your building? So that comes into your picture. So how does the site drainage? So this is very important when you go to site analysis. Is there any existing site drainage that is available? That also you have to check. How they have diverted their site drainage. Is there any rainwater slope in the roads? Pedestrian, when I'm saying, is there any water lag? Sometimes water will be lagging there. So how they've given their drainage, all these also you have to check. Then soil type on site. This is again optional if you want to check the soil type, because sometimes when you're designing your foundation or something, and if you have a very loose soil, how they have taken the foundation also will help. So if you have a hard soil project, then this one is again optional, as I told. So if you want to know the soil type, you can check the soil type, and you can check with the client what kind of soil type they have used and what kind of testing they have done to check the soil and the depth. So that you can check. So this is the natural features. The next is the circulation. So this is very, very important. In circulation, you have two types. One is horizontal circulation and one is vertical circulation. For example, if I'm taking a hospital as a case study, how is the horizontal circulation? When I enter, where is my reception? Is it easily available? Or I have to search, because most of the hospitals, if you go, the reception will be at the entrance. Sometimes they'll keep somewhere arrow mark they'll give and they'll go to the sites. So you have to check how their circulation is. From that reception, Are the doctor's room very accessible? Is there boards? So you have to check all that circulation. Then vertical circulation is a staircase, lifts, escalators. So all these are a very easy accessible. You have to check. So this circulation again, if you can check it with your plans, if they give you plans, it will be very good. Um, because you can easily make out where all the position of the rooms are there, or you can take pictures. And sometimes if they refuse to give you plans also, you can go through the site and make a sketch also and present. So not necessary you have to have a ready plan. You can also sketch the plan, because once you see the room, you know it, right? Approximate you can sketch, and you can present the plan also showing different circulation. Then accessibility, how you are accessing the site. Is it is there any in today's design, most of the public buildings, they are saying they have to give space for disabled people. You should have ramps, lift should be easily available, there should not be any step. So when I say hospital, again, is these disabled accesses are available. Even in our college, if you see, we are doing lifts now, right? We have done a lot of ramps everywhere. Ramps have we have introduced, even at the entrance, even at the back entrance. So that are they there in the design, you have to check. Then public transport close to the site. So you have any bus stops or you have any railway stations, you can just check. Then location of best access to the site for both vehicles and pedestrians. Normally, if it's a commercial block, they will give two entrances, because if one gets blocked or if there is any drainage, sorry, drainage problem, you can open always. For public buildings, they give two entrances. One is like a main entry, the other one is like a escape entry in case if there's any fire or something. So you have to check all the vehicle accessories also. Is it easily accessed into the building? Not like you have an entry of vehicle somewhere from the back, you stop and you walk so much inside. That shouldn't be there. So you can check all that, how the access are there. The next is the utilities. So what are the utilities? Your electricity, gas, water, sewer, telephone, your plumbing, electrical, all that will come under utilities. You can check your fall ceiling if they have anything, how the electricals are there, is there an electrical station nearby, all that you have to check. So when you have a big building, they will have a separate generator room. So is it positioned very near or very close to the building? That also you have to check. If there's any existing gas blocks, normally in today's thing, they don't provide the chat. Ma'am, can I ask the question? Question, I'll just finish the class and you can ask in the end. So gas, water, how is the water entry here, and sewer lines, all these where the manholes are provided. You can take photographs of it or you can sketch it also when you're doing the plan. So all these utilities you have to check. Location of power poles, as I told, your generator room, or if you have a inbuilt transformer inside your buildings, that also you can check. Then drainage, then substations. So substations will come where you have factories kind. So there you require a separate electric generators, substations inside your block. So that is where it comes. In small project, if you go, substations will not be available. So you can omit that point. Next is structural details such as columns, beams, design, steel and composite structures. In expansion joints and all, I've told if the length of the building is big, you will give expansion joints and all. So you can check those expansion joints if in these buildings if it is available, and what is the column structure, what is the size of the column, you can check. This will help when you're designing the building. You can easily put that size of the column in your design, though it might not be the accurate one, but you can still put an approximate size of the column in your design. So when you're going into the site and seeing all these things, you will get more knowledge, and practically you will be getting gaining lot of experience. When you're seeing at the site, you will understand more better than what I tell you right now. So in fact, you can go do a case study of your own house. So where all loopholes are there, how should be the window positioned. So you can start with a small case study of your own house, how it can be better. So that is it. So if you have auditorium, what kind of steel sections they have used for the roofs. So you can analyze all these things when it comes to structures. So all structures needs to be analyzed. So these are the points you have to keep. You have to have a diary when you go to site to collect the informations. So one is you collecting the information and then making it a project. So when you're going to the site, you're collecting the informations. So while collecting, these are the checklists that you want to have when you're coming back to your case study. So again, structural details or any particular details that you find on site. Say there is some new material that they have used. You can take photographs, you can collect the informations, you can check with the client. In fact, in some cases, there are architects who have designed that place. So you can go check with the architect if they give you an appointment. You can discuss with them about the design to get more detail of the project. So case study not doesn't mean only at the site. You can check with the architect also, because they will provide you more details for of the site. So this is about the structural details. Then form and function. What kind of form they have with respect to the building. So as I said, form follows function. So not necessary. A hospital building cannot look like a restaurant. So an hospital building should look like an hospital. A school should look like a school. The shapes and forms can vary, but if you have a proper circle, you cannot arrange your furnitures inside the class. But for restaurant, again, that circle will work very nice. It will look very beautiful. So form follows function. So what forms have they used for their buildings? So that you can check. Okay, after analyzing all that, you have collected all the data of the site, and after collecting it, you will do a SWOT. So what is SWOT? Normally in business, they'll do the SWOT, but as an education case study also, I would suggest you people to carry with this SWOT. So SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So what is the strength? So once you have done your case study or analysis of the site, you will see what are the strengths of the building. So it can be the landscape design, it can be the arrangements of room. So you will make in points what are the strengths. It can be the skylight, there might be a beautiful skylight, there might be nice landscape, nice pathway. So you will make in points what are the strength of the design that you have analyzed. Then what are the weakness? If the entry is not proper, or you have observed something, or you feel that this could have been changed. So that is the weakness of the project. And what are the opportunities? For example, you're designing a school building. Is it nearby to a factory? Then it is not an opportunity. Or is it nearby to public spaces? Is there any landscape nearby? All that will form as an opportunity. So for a kid, you should have a good playground. So all that opportunities you will see. You will note down all these points actually. And threats. The last one is the threat. So what are threats? When I say hospital, there shouldn't be any factories or any smoke coming things around. So that you have to check. Is there any sound making things? So that you have to see. And other things where whatever projects you are taking, whatever is negative for it will become a threat for that. So these are the points that you will note down after analyzing. These points will help you in designing your project in a better way. So this is how you go for a case study. So you will first analyze all these points, and then you will make a SWOT. So you will have some points, and you will make a project report on it. So these are the points. So I'll just show you a small restaurant, how they have utilized their analysis. So this is a restaurant. So to make a project report, if you want to do it in computer, fine. Even if you want to do manually also, it is fine. Like collecting photographs, printing it, and writing it manually also is fine. So the first one is your cover page. So whatever your project, you can design your cover page. You will get lot of options when you're seeing on the net for your cover page. So you can check with it. So you can give your address. You have to write your name first thing when you're doing a project. So your name and guided by. So whoever is a teacher, you can write their names. So this will be, you don't have to write cover page. I've just written it. So you can make a design. It can be an elevation of the building, or it can be some interesting element that you have seen in the project. So that you can make as a cover page. So this is just an address. It's a Coco Jaunt 1728. It's in Chennai. It's a small restaurant. Okay. So as I said, the first one is the location. So you have to write where it is located, the address, area, cuisine. So since this is a restaurant, and how many people have they occupied, then what is the interior concept. So since it's a restaurant, every restaurant has some concepts, right? So they have a concept of travel, then the name, how did it derive and all, then kitchen, since it is kitchen. Now if I say hospital, you have to check with rooms, operation theaters, all that you will give in detail. And before this, after the cover page, you can even have your index, like a content. So the first pages are of introduction, the second page is site plan, the third page is plans, fourth page is say section or photographs. So like that you can make an index after the cover page, which will be much easier. But if you have 10 or 20, 15 pages, you don't have to make that content. If you have more, if you have a bigger project to analyze, then you can make a content. If you have a smaller project, you don't have to make a content. Uh, then lighting, any effect they have given, air conditioning, materials, what they have used. So this is very important when it comes to case study, what materials they have used. So if you see, you can zoom in your mobiles also, the picture, I guess. So you can see, this is their theme of the restaurant. So everywhere in the walls, if you see, this is about traveling, exploring places. So you'll see different coins over here, different number plates. So if you see here, different country number plates, and different places photographs all over the world. Stamps again, postal stamps of various shapes and sizes. So these they have used as a pattern on the walls. So this is their theme. Also they have vehicles. You can see these are tires that have been used as a book rack. And also if you observe, there's a small detail of fire extinguisher. So this is very important when it comes to public spaces. At residence you don't need, but when it comes to public space, this is very, very, very important. So there's some shade also that is coming. So these are their concepts. So bike as the element of the travel has been highlighted throughout the interior. So they have taken bike for their travel passion. So tires has been painted and served as a small storage space for CDs. This is best part as it has been reused and is functional as well. Then some world map is here, some pictures. So they have used a lot of concepts where it is about travel itself. So this is the plan. So if you see, this is the entry. You have your parking in the front. You have some two-seater dining. There's a four-seater dining. Here and all, it's four-seater. So here also, if you see, these are like a benches and these are like chairs, where you will see in a lot of the restaurants. Here also you have. So this is like your reception area where you will pay the bill and all, like a counter maybe. This is like their staff room if they want. And here also you have your dining. So when I say toilet, this is the entry to toilet. They have taken little bit more so that it is obstructed. The door is not directly seen. They have like a passage, and then there are two toilets and one wash basin. And this is their kitchen, which will have a utility on this side. So it is a very nice, well planned and very spacious restaurant where there is no too many chairs here and there. So very limited chairs and very nicely planned. So this is the plan. Here they have shown the circulation. So if you see, there's an entry here. So the owner can go here and enter. So if you see, the circulation is very nice, very smooth, and there is no obstruction for the circulation. So anybody who wants to get up and go, there is no pushing, and even if you see, there's enough space here between the furnitures. So this is an easy movement for the um, circulation. Since this is just one floor, there is just horizontal circulation. There is no vertical circulation here. So this is it. Then color psychology. This is optional again. Since here they have used lot of colors, lot of limited colors, I can say. So they have used lot of gray, blue, yellow, and creamish. So since they have used these limited colors, you can just make a color psychology, because this will help you in design your interiors also. So they have just written what colors seems what. So these are the things. Then the entrance picture. So this is the entrance picture. So it's a single glass door. So if you see gray, yellow, and a little bit bluish, this is their theme. So very simple and subtle. So you can take photographs like this, but you have to name it. Even if you're doing a manual case study, you have to name every photograph what it is. Otherwise, it will not be complete. Flooring. When it comes to restaurant, flooring is very important, because you have to keep cleaning the flooring. And today with corona, I guess every day twice or thrice they have to keep cleaning the flooring, all the furnitures. After every meal also, I guess people have to use sanitizers or soap to clean the table. So flooring plays very important when it comes to restaurant, because it has to be anti-skid, and it has to be durable, because you will be cleaning it every day. So this is the tile, and it has to be maintenance free also. So not necessary you have to use carpet and all here. So when you're choosing materials, you have to be careful. Walls. So what kind of walls they have used? So non-plastered walls are used to create textures. So there is no plastering in the wall. Sorry, yeah, non-plastered walls, but they have just used textures here to create textures. Then brick wall they have used up to 4 feet, and if you see, it will be glossy. So even if something falls on it, it will not make any stain on it. So this is their walls. Again, these I showed you, all the stickers, some photographs, all these are the walls. False ceiling. So here I don't see any false ceiling here, but they have utilized the pipes, exposed pipes are seen, and you can see some hanging lights. So these are again very not too much of spending. So, and they have painted the roof gray and the walls white. So the scheme again goes well. So yellow and gray and white is used more. So, and natural lights, not natural, sorry, ceiling lights, true ceiling lights. And you can see all the wirings going, electric pipes going. There is no false ceiling as such, just to keep it in a natural way. So you can mention those points what you have observed when you're putting the photographs. You can mention those points over here, whatever you feel is good, or whatever you feel. You can make two columns, say it's strength and its weakness. So what you have observed as weakness. So you can even mention false ceiling would have been more better if it was provided here. So when you're, it will help when you're designing a project. So single chairs you saw. See, these are single chairs. So these are the benches that they have. So it's mostly white and blue more. So this gives a nice white normally gives a very nice feeling when you're going into a restaurant. So these kind of subtle colors gives you a nice environment when you're sitting there and having your food. So you can see here. So these are the furnitures. You can zoom and see the details. Sometimes there are something that finds you interesting, maybe a cupboard or something. You can take a single photo of that particular thing and write also. So you have to write. Every photograph should have some text with it. What have you observed in it? So that will help you when you are reading it, when you want it for your design purpose. Then your kitchen. So how the kitchen was in L shape. So this is your kitchen where it is an open space, and mostly it is white, where they have kept your ovens. So if you see, so these positions you can just check, and if you how much space they have given for the movement, if there are 4 or 5 people, is it easily accessible? How much space is required? So when I say anthropometrics of your interiors, these things, when you go to site and check, it will be more understandable for you what height is required for the counter. If you measure it, it will stay in your mind better than if I say you require 2 feet 8 inch. It will not stay in your mind. But if you go measure it and check, it will stay in your mind forever. So it is always good if you go to site or any detail if you are doing also, it is better to check the heights. So even staircase, when I took you in the college, I have made you go to the staircase, see all the details. So in that way you will remember better. So that is also a small case study, but you didn't write a project for it. But here when I say case study, you will write a project. So this is after collecting all the informations, you will write this project like this. The last one is the analysis. So what have you seen? Form, shapes, texture, color. Again, these things can vary. So what case study you do, these elements and what you have observed can vary. As I said, SWOT you have to do. SWOT. Strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. That itself you can write in your analysis statement. Here they have written, since it's a restaurant, they have seen lot of elements and design principles. So they have written in respect to it. But in case of hospitals, there won't be much design elements. There'll be lot of equipments, how they have placed the rooms, position of the rooms, accessibility. So when it comes to different projects, these points again will vary according to it. So that's it for today's class. So it was short. So this is how you write a case study. So you can choose whether you want to do manual or whether you want to do it in computers. And you can choose different themes also, like not necessarily you have to photograph like this only. You can arrange your photographs in any ways, and you can write, you can choose your color themes, you can make a ppt, or you can make in Photoshop also. If you want to give some arrows, or if you want to highlight some photos, you can change things in Photoshop also. In fact, you can make a project report in AutoCAD also. You can import your pictures and make like a sheet and do it, and make like separate sheets, separate layouts and do. So you can use any software to do a project report, or you can do it manually also. Not necessary you have to have computer. You can take a small, you can take an A3 size paper, you can stick your pictures on it, you can make like a file and submit. So even that is good enough when you're doing a case study. If you want to do in computers, you can use any of the softwares. You can do in Word also. You can do in Excel also, in fact. You can do in AutoCAD if you're good at AutoCAD. And Photoshop, obviously, or simple PPT also will be helpful. So that's it for today. So whoever wants to ask question, you can just put it in the chat. I guess Anita wanted to ask something. So is Anita there?
Done, ma'am?
Yeah. Yeah, Shalini, you can just type. Sir, can you unmute everyone so that if they have any doubts? Yeah, Shani Barnal, you can.
నేను బాగా చెప్తానంటే నా క్లాస్ లో నేను బాగా చెప్తాను. నాకు ఇలా దీంట్లో నాకు అంత సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్ నాకే రావట్లేదు.
Ma'am, I guess it will be a chaos because unmuting everyone would be a chaos. Shalini, I would expect Shalini to unmute herself and ask the question. शालिनी, आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हो.
Anybody else who has any question, you can put it in the chat so that I can answer.
I guess, ma'am, there are no doubts at all.
So we'll end the session, sir, today then.
All right, ma'am. So thank you so much for giving us this lecture, and looking forward for some more in the near future, ma'am.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, girls. Thank you all.